So welcome everybody to the Capricorn New Moon Distant Reiki Share. I'm so grateful for all of you who are here and present live and those who are listening to the recordings. So before we get started, just some announcements and things I'd like to let you know that are happening. It is a busy January, lots of opportunities to connect on January 11th. So the first month of the year, the 11th day, we're bringing in the 111 portal, the nodes of the moon in Pisces Virgo. This is a class I am teaching, intuitive galactic astrology and a Reiki Journey class. And it is going to be so much fun embodying the diamond heart light. This was a frequency and a whole portal of consciousness that really has come in with Pluto and Aquarius. And so we will be expanding into that and also looking at this 18-month long transit of the nodes of the moon in Pisces and Virgo. So I will make a little video describing more about that class soon, but definitely wanted to let you know that one's coming up quickly. On January 14th, 18th, there is a Quantum Soul Guidance free summit about galactic astrology, and myself and 28 other practitioners, 29 other practitioners will be sharing on specific topics in galactic astrology and how we integrate it with other modalities as well. Many other practitioners are integrating the astrology with other modalities. So that's a free summit. And I will be sending out an email with how to register for that as well pretty soon here. January 29th is another free distant Reiki share. So these are every month. And this will be for the Aquarius New Moon. And also in February, there's an opportunity to connect with me in person, February 2nd through 8th. I am helping out with the Hawaii Health Retreat. My dear friends are hosting a health retreat on the Big Island, and I will be sharing one-on-one in-person Reiki Journey sessions with the participants who would like a Reiki session. So definitely, if you're looking for self-care, if you're looking for just like a week of wholesome, fun, radiant bliss in Hawaii with having everything taken care of and really giving yourself a lot of support and health and wellness and your vitality, then definitely check out more of that. There is a promotion code and a very significant, generous discount if you use my name in your registration. So I'm also receiving bookings for 2025. I believe there is a spot or two potentially left in January to book a one-on-one reading with me or a Reiki Journey session. So if that's something you're wanting to explore and work together more personally, then definitely check that out on my website, taylornorrisreiki.com. All the details for all of that will be on my website. And also, if you receive my emails, then more information about each of these will be shared with you there as well, the appropriate links and everything. So one thing I wanted to talk about this question in 2025, are we there yet? What's happening, kind of what's the overall energy? And this feels a bit like, yes, there's a lot of big astrology in 2025, but it's almost like the biggest event of 2025 is actually in 2026, and it's the Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries. So are we there yet? Yes. Are we there yet? Also, no. We're dealing with cycles within cycles. We've entered this cycle of Pluto now fully being in Aquarius, for example. That's a whole new cycle. But really, in this next year and a couple months, we're closing out a 36-year Saturn Neptune cycle that was seeded in 1989. So right now we are in what's called the balsamic moon phase. It's this phase of completions, of endings, of really being in the mystery and the reflection of like, what was this last 35, 36 years all about? What happened? What development occurred? What gifts and blessings and lessons and knowledge and wisdom and evolution and growth and all the different things that have birthed within you and manifested in your life. So it's a really, really profound time. And we're really in this kind of in between the realms energy this year, is what I'm really sensing. And this is very highlighted also by the nodes of the moon shifting from Aries Libra to Pisces Virgo. So the energy is very mutable, it's fluid, it's flowing. It's like a foot in this realm, a foot in another realm, and really being in that kind of in between space and getting comfortable with that. And I think this year is also very rich in mysticism and magic and reflection. There is a lot of action and power and courage and forward momentum and leadership and those more yang types of energies, but there's also this equal balance of really juicy, nourishing, rich, inward directed completion, reflection type of energy as well. And I think it's also important to be oriented in the mindset of like the journey rather than the destination. And of course, in Reiki journey practices or shamanic journey practices, that's what we're trained in, that's what we learn, that's what we do. It's really shifted my whole experience and perception of reality, always being so focused on destinations and getting there, and really coming to learn to love and appreciate and value the journey and the process and the unfoldment rather than some end place to get to, because it's all really eternal and unending anyway. So January and 2025 really starts out in a big and powerful way. These are some of the opening notes of 2025. On January 2nd, Venus enters Pisces, and she is said to be, in more traditional astrology, exalted in the sign of Pisces. So this is a very comfortable placement for Venus, where Venus can do what she does best. She can receive, she can be in that frequency of grace rather than earning and striving and deserving. Venus and Pisces know she's worthy, and she is just receiving all of the goodness of life and creation and the cosmos. So this is a really, really wonderful, magical, mystical, feminine, creative, generative, spiritual energy, and one of really quite powerful divine receiving. And I'm also hearing also like helping us heal any sense of limitation around our worth and our value and our deservingness. And this is paired. I'm seeing now how clearly this pair of Venus and Pisces is really supportive to this Mars opposite Pluto, which is compelling us to take that soul and spirit aligned action, to be courageous, to be bold. And with Venus and Pisces, it feels like we're recognizing that we are in alignment and we are deserving and worthy to take whatever that spiritually guided action is, and to receive the blessings and the support as we do so. The grace, the energy to actually step more fully into our boldness, into our authenticity, into our leadership, however that looks for each of us, because it's different for each of us, right? And we lead through our examples, and that's so incredibly powerful. Venus and Pisces is like embodying that example of your own authentic leadership. So this is the chart of the Mars-Pluto opposition here on the screen, and some different keywords. I was really sitting with this chart and like, how do I summarize this in just a few words? Receiving ignition and the divine spark were two different phrases that were really coming through this particular chart and this particular alignment. Mars Pluto is often, it's like, oh, that's like not a good combination. These are two malefic planets, but really these are two powerhouse planets coming together in this opposition, really activating us, really igniting deeper parts of our soul, deeper parts of our spirit. And this is even making me think now, too, I've become aware recently all the solar activity that's been very, very heightened and amplified at this time. So there's this very strong sense of Venus receiving this empowerment, Mars, Pluto, and even what our physical sun is sending us with all of these high frequency cosmic rays and solar rays. And you can also see with this particular chart, this is the galactic chart showing all the star alignments, and it's like every single line is full, every single planet and point is aligning with just the most exquisite stars. So our galactic family is definitely shining through the light of all these powerful stars. Vega, ancient wisdom from the very beginning of time, the very beginning of the Milky Way galaxy. Moon opposite Alpha, the Heart Star and Hydra constellation. This is like a direct linkage in with the power of each of our hearts. The nodes of the moon with Skiat and the super galactic center. That's something I wanted to talk about too. You can see in this chart the nodes of the moon, Aries, Libra, they're at 0 degrees of Aries and Libra. So that's what's called the world axis here. And there is this strong sense of a powerful new beginning coming through the nodal axis, a new beginning in terms of our individual and our collective soul growth as Earth humans on this planet, and really accessing the mental creativity we need and the more spiritual, intuitive creativity that we need, the spiritual leadership that we need. And with this South Node being at 0 Libra, I'm looking at the nodal axis too, by the way, in a very different kind of way that I'll certainly be teaching about in the nodal axis class I'm teaching in January 11th. And really, this 0 Libra South Node, it's like anchoring in that divine frequency of peace so powerfully. You know, thinking about the white dove as an animal totem of that, for example, or any other symbol of that that connects and resonates for you. This really feels like a moment of orienting towards that peace and feeling that inner peace coming alive within us more powerfully than ever before. Mercury's with Razzlehag here, Razzlehag and Ophiuchus. This is the healer star, our minds attuned to healing. We have Venus opposite Royal Star Regulus. This is also, the royal stars to me are very connected to the gemstones as well. And the support really goes on and on for there. From there, Uranus with Capula star and Perseus constellation. This is yet another star of male Kundalini energy, and also that clear, direct, aligned action and assertiveness and empowerment frequency, and liberating any kinds of constraints, Uranus, we may have felt towards being in that clear, direct line of action. Mars with Pluto, really all about that, liberating any kind of feeling powerless, because, we're anything but powerless. It's about reclaiming our own power, our own innate power here, and receiving it, being open to receive, being open to positive results. If I could say one very important thing, January 2nd, be open to positive results, and be open to positive results with any of the transits, I would say, is a very, very healthy way to approach them. January 6th, Mars will leave the zodiac sign of Leo and re-enter Cancer zodiac sign. And Mars will remain in Cancer until April of 2025. So it's spending a lot of time in Cancer. Just a few days later, January 8th, Mercury enters Capricorn. So with Mars in Cancer, it's like our emotional, intuitive, lunar bodies are coming alive, our clairsenses, our connection to the moon. Cancer zodiac sign is guided by the moon. This more intuitive, creative, feminine, mothering part of ourselves is really coming online here. And Mars and Moon are actually good friends and good kind of antidotes to one another. So I would say to open your perspective and perception to allow Mars and Moon to actually balance one another here. They're often not talked about as supports in that way, but what I'm learning and what is being shown to me is actually that they can be powerful antidotes and balancers of one another. So to lean into that possibility. January 8th, Mercury entering Capricorn. This is quite helpful because Mars in Cancer can be very emotional, kind of, non-linear, right? Mercury in Capricorn, this is like our practical thinking caps are coming on. And this can also be very empowering and organizing of our leadership with this Mars, Pluto, Soul, and Spirit action activation that we're receiving, this ignition of our empowerment. Mercury in Capricorn can like organize it, prioritize it, kind of lay out a step-by-step process, hold us accountable, and really make it real. So this seems like a pretty magical combination here. As I mentioned, January 11th, the true north node enters Pisces, the true south node enters Virgo, and that is a big energy shift from the cardinal action, decisive energy of the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra into the realms of magic and mystery and healing and spiritual service and practical service, and really healing and cleansing and purifying our etheric bodies, our auric field, Pisces, but also our physical bodies, Virgo, working with the earth and working with the invisible realms, Pisces, and really expanding our sense of creativity and service. Overall, so what I have on screen here is actually the chart of the full moon in Cancer, our first full moon of 2025, and this is occurring on January 13th. Our first full moon of the year is in Cancer, and there's so much Cancerian and lunar energy this year I'm really feeling and becoming aware of. So this seems like a year of heightened intuition and intuitive power, and that really this empowerment of our trust and trust in self and this sense of security that Cancer and Capricorn zodiac signs in particular are always interested in feeling secure. Our trust and security can be accessed through our intuitive connection, so through our spiritual connection, through our intuition, and also through our sense of service as well. That is really where it can be unshakable inner security, a strong foundation of unshakable inner security coming through our own intuition and our own sense of authentic service. So the Cancerian energy, very highlighted, of course, in its fullest expression at the time of the full moon, but also coming through very strongly, planet Mars through April, and then rather expansively with Jupiter entering Cancer zodiac sign in June of 2025. So we are really working powerfully with the moon this year. No doubt about it. So I will do a separate video about this full moon, but definitely wanted to call all of your attention to the fact that this year 2025 is also very, very lunar, and that really highlights the power and the magic of paying attention to the moon, like visibly checking in with the moon in the sky to be doing this work that we do every new moon together, setting new intentions every new moon, and working with the full moon, the quarter moons, checking every day, what zodiac sign is the moon in. I really like doing that, seeing where it is in my chart, seeing where it is in the transits, and just paying attention to the moon and paying attention to your own natal moon, your own progressed moon, if you know how to do that as well. And connecting in with your own emotional body, checking in with your emotions often, your feelings, as well as how can you soothe yourself? How can you soothe whatever your natal moon is by zodiac sign, by house placement, by aspects, by lunar phase? Get to know your own moon is really the invitation here, certainly in January. And knowing that with this enhanced lunar energy too, there's a there's like a quick cyclic turnaround happening because moon is the fastest body that's going around our entire chart every single month, every single lunar cycle. It's making a full 360 rotation around the zodiac wheel. So cycles are pretty fast in a way this year, and that can bring a heightened sense of sensitivity in people who aren't normally maybe so sensitive or so conscious of their emotions and maybe not as developed with their empathy and clear senses and all of that. So the overall general atmosphere is one of heightened sensitivity. So to know that and have compassion and grace and gentleness with yourself and your own feelings and your own sensitivity, and also with others who may not be as far along in developing their own intuitive connections and really tending their emotions as well. So at all levels of consciousness, we're feeling this sensitive energy is what I'm saying here. So to have some compassion and really radiate that peace from the inside out. Does that mean time will be much faster? With as long as Saturn is in Pisces, it's like the experience of time is so different. I mean, it's like it's so mutable, it's so changing. And we do have other astrological indicators this year that it may feel faster. But there also may be periods where you're experiencing like just complete timelessness and flow and being outside of time as well. This seems like one of the major parts of our human experience that is evolving is our relationship and experience of time. So it can feel faster, it can feel slower, it can feel somewhat irrelevant too. I think there are many different possibilities with that. And that's what's so exciting and so fun. All right, so as promised in the Capricorn New Moon video, I said I would share some of what the different planets and the jewels are as we are becoming more crystalline. Literally, we're becoming more diamond. This could not be more clear coming through this Pluto in Aquarius. The power and the frequency of the diamond light is so very present, is so very with us, and is so pure and cosmic and earthly and galactic, and really supporting our growth and our consciousness evolution at this time. So in our journey, we will certainly be playing with this, the different planetary jewels, the color rays, the starlight. And so in the ancient Eastern Vedic Jyotish traditions, each of the visible planets, including the luminary sun and moon, have different color rays associated with them and different stones associated with them. And you may notice that there's some familiar with like what's your birthstone. There's some overlap with that, but it's also different. So in the Jyotish tradition, the sun is linked to the red color ray and the ruby. The moon is linked to the orange color ray and the pearl. So another way to talk about 2025 as this lunar year is one of the phrases that came to mind was year of the pearl. So if you have any pearls in the house, this would be a great time to bring them out and work with them and work with that pearl energy. Mercury is linked to the green ray and the emerald. So very beautiful and so very balancing. Venus linked to the indigo ray and the diamond. And I found that very, very interesting because with this Pluto and Aquarius and really showing the diamond ray being so highlighted, I was quite interested to see that the diamond is actually linked to Venus, and the diamond universally is thought to be harmonizing, balancing, and very, very benefic. So it combines really well with all of these different stones here. Mars is linked to the yellow ray and the red coral. I'm not personally familiar with that stone, but we'll be certainly very open to connecting with it. Jupiter linked to the blue ray and the yellow sapphire. The yellow sapphire actually emits a blue color ray. And Saturn is connected to the violet ray and the blue sapphire. And so the Jyotish didn't do any planetary gem linkages beyond the visible planets, but I really invite each of you to consider what might be the crystals and the gems of the Earth, of Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, of any other celestial body you might be curious about, and also knowing with these gemstones with the visible planets that there are many other crystals other than the really fine grade, high grade gemstones that are linked to each of the planets. So it's by no means limited to this list either. So I set out some possibilities here with Uranus possibly being linked to amethyst, Neptune to aquamarine, Pluto with topaz, and that was really inspired by the birthstones, what I know about birthstones and the birthstone for like February and Aquarius and March and Pisces, and thinking about the birthstone for Scorpio here being topaz. So those were some possibilities that came through for the outer planets, but they're by no means definite. The South Node and North Node in the Jyotish tradition were linked to infrared light, the South Node ultraviolet light or ultraviolet color with the North Node, and two very interesting stones here. South Node with cat's eye, which I learned is different than tiger's eye. I've never seen cat's eye, but I have seen and worked with, and I have some tiger's eye here in my home. North Node linked to Hessonite, and this was something I was not familiar with. Hessonite, there's Hessonite garnet, is what I was able to see and research online. So, linked to garnet, and in Jyotish tradition, the stones for South Node and North Node are like very rarely used or really worked with because usually there's not a desire to amplify or expand the energy of the nodal axis within that tradition. So I found that interesting as well. Sunny, you like the image? Thank you. I made that with the AI. Had some fun with that.